This is Dr. Reem Al-Attar. Today we're going to talk about experimental techniques for chemistry IGCSE. Now, the first thing is to know that the topic is divided to three aspects. First, talking about the laboratory equipment. Two, talking about separation techniques. Three, talking about chemical testing. To start with the laboratory equipment. First, the equipment used to deal with liquids are the flask, graduated cylinder, burette, beaker, pipettes. For the flask and the beaker, we only use them in experiments for mixing or other experiments, but never for measurement, even though they are graduated, but they're extremely inaccurate. For measuring, we use one of these three, either a pipette, a burette, a measuring cylinder. A pipette or a volumetric pipette is a fixed volume of 25 centimeter cube. It is the most accurate for this specific volume. A drawback for it is that it cannot measure different volumes, while a burette is also accurate and it can measure from 0 to 50 and it can measure different volumes. So whenever you're asked to measure 25 centimeter cube exactly, go for pipette. Any other volume ranging from 0 to 50 using a decimal like 22.5, 23.7, 24, the most accurate is a burette. Measuring cylinder is inaccurate, but it is needed in some experiments because it is quick and easy to use. So when you're asked to improve accuracy, if you're using measuring cylinder, go for burette or pipette. And remember that for the burette, the filled up burette has the 0 mark on the top, the 50 on the bottom, because you're supposed to open the tap, let the liquid inside flow, close the tap when the experiment is done, and then you take the measurement from the burette. For a condenser, from its name, it is used to condense, meaning it will change from gas to liquid. The liquid will evaporate in a flask, and then as the liquid evaporates, the fumes will enter the condenser. When they enter the condenser and move in the inner tube of the condenser, water is flowing from the bottom opening in the outer jacket and exit from the upper jacket. So it enters from the bottom, exits from the top. This cools down the gas in order to change it from a gas as it enters here to a liquid as it exits the condenser. This is called a Bunsen burner, and what we put over the Bunsen burner is called a tripod, and this is a wire gauze. The Bunsen burner is used to heat, of course, from its name. It is heating. But just remember a few points. The first is that I have two flames. The flame color can be yellow or blue. Yellow flame is less hot than a blue flame. Also, if I am doing a flame test, for example, yellow flame will mask the color change while a blue flame will not mask the color change. How do I change the flame or adjust the Bunsen burner to get a blue flame? We open the air opening to the maximum. Fully open the air hole in the Bunsen burner to get a blue flame. Dealing, I have three porcelain equipment that I need to know. First, the mortar and pestle, and we use these in order to crush. This is the mortar, which is the handle. We put the solid inside of the mortar. Excuse me, this is the pestle, which is the handle. And then we put the solid inside of the mortar. We use the pestle to crush the solid and increase its surface area. Like I have a lump, I crush it using mortar and pestle to form a powder. The crucible with the lid is used to heat solids. I put it over a Bunsen burner and I put the solid inside of the crucible, cover with the lid. If I have a liquid that I want to evaporate, I use an evaporating dish. Note that if you look at the picture, the mortar and pestle, of course, I have a handle. The crucible, it is horizontal on the bottom, while evaporating dish is circular and it is wide. Other equipment that you need to know is the thermometer, of course, for measuring temperature, reading of which we take to a decimal of zero point 0.5. For example, 1.5, 2.5, whatever. The timer, which is to measure time, of course, unit is in seconds, doesn't have a decimal. Also, remember that any experiment that will require measuring of speed or rate of reaction, you must use a stopwatch. I have also a dropper, or it can be called a teat pipette, to put drops in different experiments. It's used to move very small volumes of liquid. Tongs is to handle hot objects. For example, if I want to hold a crucible after I heat it, I hold it with the tongue. Test tube holder from its name to handling test tubes. Funnel, this is called a glass funnel. This is called a trough. A trough, I understand it can look a bit like a beaker, except the beaker has higher sides than the trough. Also, the beaker has graduation. A balance is used to measure mass, unit is in grams. This is called a stand with a clamp. And that's about it. Next time we talk about the separation techniques. Thank you all.